if you're on a kick about being locked up and that you're gonna do something when you get home and being in the free world, I'm telling you, it's a trick from the enemy. You have to start exactly where you're at, and if you're in prison, that's where you need to start at. And it's very easy because, see, you don't have any of the things of this world really attached to you. It's besides the things that are at prison. And the things that are at prison, just get in a quiet place. And the cubicle was enough room for me. I did everything in a little cubicle, and it made me feel intimate with God, and it had me to connect. And I've continued those same practices, even though I have a little bit more space. I just go in any of those spaces and still do the same thing. The practices that you do in prison will be good for you when you get home. You don't have to change anything because He's in you. He's not in the place. And I would just suggest that you start out every day with some time with the Lord. You know, it doesn't matter. If you have to be somewhere in the system at 4 o'clock in the morning, you probably need to get up at 3. You need time with the Lord, because the day is gonna have something in it that you just really probably won't handle well. But if you already started with God, He'll give you that peace and things will kind of just roll off. And then if you don't do the right thing within that day, you can always go to Him and ask for forgiveness and confess and start over. I had to do it many times, and I still have to do that. It has nothing to do with prison.
Well, for me, while I was in prison, it was very important choosing the people I was hanging out with, choosing the types of TV that I was watching, choosing the books that I was reading, scheduling myself a little bit. I'm kind of a scheduled person, so in prison's kind of scheduled, you know, you have certain wake-up times. And so I try to maintain some of that when I came out, like still have my time with God, still have some decent meal times. I have a little table right next to my chair by my bed that I have my books on. And the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning, of course, I still make my bed first. It's a habit, but I spend time with the Lord. I get up extra early before anyone in the house. I make that time, intentionally make the time to still be with God. In prison, I had 24/7, like, lots of time. And I do find that in the free world, it's busy. It's real busy. And so I intentionally get up extra early, and I still have my morning time. I journal, and I journal throughout the day. I do a lot of writing. It helps. When I take it out of my brain and put it on paper, it just seems to help. Looking at something in black and white takes the power away, and then I'm able to look at it more realistically.
On the journaling, for me, what helped me a lot, I usually started out my journaling like, Dear God, or Good Morning God, and I would just take all my problems to Him. I would ask myself questions in the journaling. Why are you feeling this way? Where is this coming from? Everything that I was feeling or thinking, I just put down on paper. And sometimes it would be 2 or 3 days. I would go back and I would read over what I did. I always dated it, and I still have those journals today because sometimes I'll go back and look over what I processed through that. It just helps you to process your emotions, because sometimes you can't always find somebody safe to talk to in prison, you know, but you always know that God's safe. You know that He's safe and that He's gonna listen. And so that is why journaling is a very good thing to do. It plays a major part.
The one thing that I incorporated together was the structure and discipline of TDCJ, keeping your place clean, doing the right thing when nobody's looking, being honest with God, always confessing, always repenting, asking God, hey, I need wisdom, I need peace, I need this, I need that, whatever it is. Tell Him every day, talk to Him like a normal person. And if you don't know Jesus or you don't love Jesus like you know you or you think you should, tell Him that. Say, hey man, I don't know you. I don't love you. I know I need to. I see what these women walk around here who love you. I see what you've done for them, but I don't know you and I don't love you, but I want to.
For me, personally, in my life, I try not to be so caught up in perfection. I try not to think that my life has to be perfect. And I don't let other people tell me how perfect my life is. I tell them, well, actually it's not, but God is. You know, I tell them, I say, God is, and that makes it a hope, you know, because I was learning that the Word of God has covered everything. When He said it was finished on the cross, He was really serious. He said He had done it all, and we can trust that.
My most favorite advice that I got while I was incarcerated was to find yourself a good church family. Through that, opportunities arise. Finding employment, finding someone that can help you maybe get a house or a car, things like that. It has to also be a recovery-friendly church. Usually churches that celebrate recovery in them are usually very recovery-friendly. Sometimes you got to go to 4 or 5 different ones until you find out where you feel at home.
You know, I read about my church in the prison newspaper, And I just knew in my spirit that that's where I was going to go. And that's where I went. And I walked in and they said, welcome home. And it really felt like I was home. Connection is everything when you get out. Connecting with the church, with the support group, whatever it takes for you to be around like-minded people that are going in the same direction that you're going, that is what you need to stay focused on. And if you just keep your eyes on God and stay focused, everything good's going to come to pass. Staying connected with women that have come out of prison that I was in prison with, that has helped also because they get it. They get it. And so whatever you can find that connection that's going to keep you grounded, that's what you go for.
There are so many recovery programs out there. It doesn't matter which one you're in. I can walk into any recovery program and feel at home and be welcomed. It doesn't matter which program you're in, just get in one. If it's Celebrate Recovery, if it's Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, Cocaine Anonymous, Drug Addicts Anonymous, wherever it is, get involved with the people who are staying sober. I've been sober now. I celebrated 17 years on August the 18th. My sobriety date is August the 18th of 2004. And I brought something this past year in AA. We celebrate links of sobriety with the CHIP system. And so I brought my 17-year CHIP. We call these the heavy hitters. And I'm very grateful for this. Without a fellowship program and God in my life, I would not have 17 years of sobriety.
Accountability is my big thing right now. I want to be accountable. I want to be open and honest with people. Just being true to my word. I'm the same at work, at church, at home. Now I don't have many faces, or, used to I would, around certain people I would be different. In my addiction I was different. And so now I can be the same person everywhere because I'm accountable and I'm honest about everything. I set up accountability people in my life. I started going to Celebrate Recovery and connecting with positive people. I got a sponsor. My parents, I talked to them, but I was honest with them, because before in my addiction for so long, I kept secrets. And I still to this day, I stay open and honest with my parents about everything.
I took Celebrate Recovery because even though that I didn't think that my alcohol, that was going to be my addiction when I came home, I always know we need recovery in some instances. And like I said, alcohol wasn't the problem, it was the answer to the problem. So that helped me dig in deeper into a lot of issues that I had. And so I did that, and of course I did a lot of praying and fasting. I did a 7-day fast before I came home to just to keep me in my walk with Father, because I knew that once I came home, the enemy was just going to be really, really, pounding on me and just really trying to get me to go back out.
Anything can come against us. You have to have a solid support system, and you got to stay in the middle of the herd. If you do not stay in the middle of your spiritual family, you can get picked off. You don't even have to be looking for it. It'll come to you. But if you don't call on God, and you don't call on your spiritual mentor or your AA sponsor or whoever it is that is helping feed you spiritually and that have a solid relationship with Christ, it's very easy to get picked off. So I have a sponsor, and then I have spiritual mentors that I know that if I can take something to you, that it's not going to be taken anywhere else. I know that you're my closed-mouthed friend. Having my sponsor and a spiritual mentor that I know that I can take my deepest, darkest secrets, and they're not going anywhere.
I do call my sponsor, and I dump my dump truck. Anything that's going on this week, if I need to get it off my chest, vent, talk about, because if I keep it in my head, it's just gonna keep rolling around and it's just gonna make me insane. And these are the things that I used to get high over. And so I just talk about it, and I dump my dump truck.
That was one of the things in my community, that I had people that I knew were gonna hold me accountable. If I start trying to disappear on them, they were gonna call me up or be at my house. So yeah, people that you can hold you accountable, to call you out on your stuff, you know? I remember when I got home telling my husband, okay, these are the people that I don't need to be hanging out with. I don't need to do these things. And when I start doing these things, I need you to kind of help me realize that I'm doing them. But yeah, you have to have that community of people that you can say these things to.
One thing that I learned in treatment was, will this meet my needs over time? And so it's a simple question to ask yourself, will this meet my needs over time? And if it doesn't look good for not just my needs, but for my family's needs, I'm not doing it, you know? And I think that our minds are kind of wired to make decisions really quick, so it takes practice. And I have made some bad choices since I've been home. I have not made every choice right because my mind tells me to do things sometimes and I don't think them through all the way because I'm a human being and I just fall short every day. And there's always a consequence to pay. So when I get to that part of it, and I'm paying that consequence, whether it's a broken relationship or financial struggles, that's when I remember, okay, God, like, your mercies are new every morning, so tomorrow is a new day. I'm not gonna stay here. I'm gonna wake up tomorrow and make the right choice. That's all you can do is, you know, when you do find yourself making a wrong choice or if there's a relapse involved, you know, get up and go a different way tomorrow. That's all you can do is just choose today who you're gonna serve.
But it's also being determined. It's finding your goals and setting them. Because I've learned that when I haven't had a goal in mind or if I haven't had a plan, that my mind gets a little crazy and it kind of starts getting spastic. And then I feel like I'm all over the board. By actually making goals, I've learned that I actually start to achieve a lot more.
It's really important that addicts and alcoholics have something that they're aiming for. Have some sort of short-term goal, something that I can see pretty quickly, because we get restless, irritable, discontent. So addicts and alcoholics, they need something that's short-term that they can see manifest pretty quickly. But they also need some sort of direction, some sort of long-term goal, something I'm working for daily, but I'm not gonna see the benefits of that right now. One example of that is my short-term goal is to save $1,000, okay? So I can do that in a matter of months. I can put $100 a week out of my paycheck and then eventually I'll have that $1,000 saved. Long-term goal would be something like $20,000 or purchasing a house or a vehicle. So I know that that's gonna be a long-term goal, but I have to keep that long-term goal in mind so I can keep my direction moving forward. These things need to be something that's attainable, something that's not unrealistic. It's a realistic goal that's attainable. And then set a time frame for yourself. Say, you know what, in 5 years, I want to have enough money to cash buy a car, or I want to promote in my job, or I want to have college completed by this length of time. But the short-term goal might be something like, I'm gonna enroll, I'm gonna talk to a financial advisor, I'm gonna talk to a educational advisor that can get me started and get me going. The long-term goal is, I'm going to finish this associate's degree in 2.5 years, and give yourself a little bit of leeway. Sometimes we tend to be too hard on ourselves, say, you know what, going back to that self-defeating behavior, but say, you know what, if I can't have it right now, then I'm just gonna not do it. The thing about it is any kind of direction moving in the right direction, it's still moving towards that goal. Having goals is what keeps you focused in the right direction.
One of the ways in Alcoholics Anonymous, and that my sponsor told me early on, is it's about unity recovery and about service work. It's about the fellowship. It's about carrying the message. And one of the ways that I do that is I go back into prison, I tell my story. One of the things in AA that she taught me early on as well was when you're asked to tell your story or your testimony in AA, is that no is not an option. So we tell our story, we go help the still suffering addict or alcoholic, we donate our time through H&I, which stands for Hospitals and Institution, anytime that we're called, because our experience, strength, and hope can benefit other people, we show up, and that's what we do.